The French family is made up of three, Kent, Michelle, and Everly, and has decided the time is now. We left fast-paced careers in broadcasting and entertainment, decided to world school our 8-year-old daughter, and packed up our lives to travel the world in an effort to live life to the fullest.
Come with us on our podcast as we chronicle our journey around the globe, bringing you stories of Frenchitivity, which includes the three pillars of possibility, creativity, and tranquility, and ultimately learn what drives others to live life without a net.
On today's podcast, we get inspiration from Kirsty Allen, who recently summited Mera Peak in Nepal with her husband, Jordan.
The minute the sun comes up, the minute that little bit of orange breaks above the snow, everything changes. And suddenly it's completely then obtainable. No matter how struggled 20 minutes ago that I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? As soon as that sun comes up, everything changes.
Today's guest, Kirsty Allen of At Before We Can't, knows exactly what it feels like to chase the sun to the top of the world. From the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro to standing above the clouds on Mera Peak in Nepal, Kirsty and her husband Jordan are living proof that adventure can't wait.
They're climbing, exploring, and inspiring before they can't. Listen in as Kirsty opens up about the physical and mental hurdles she's faced and how pushing beyond limits has brought her and her husband the deepest sense of fulfillment.
If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe to the Frenchitivity podcast on your preferred platform. We hope this conversation inspires you.
Michelle and Everly spreading Frenchitivity all over the world. This entire family creating possibilities all over the world. Frenchitivity, possibilities all over the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Frenchitivity podcast. Once again, Kent and Michelle with you. And on this edition of our podcast, we are truly in rarefied air because we are going to climb some incredible mountain peaks. We're going over 20,000 feet up into the stratosphere. It's going to be awesome. I mean, I am so fired up for this. Kirsty is joining us right now from the UK. And Kirsty, thank you for doing this. You're part of Before We Can't. That is your Instagram handle. That is how we found you. I just want to hear your story on how you came up with that Instagram handle, because I think all of us can relate to that phrase.
Literally, it's as literal as it is. Me and my husband, we're pushing 40, the knees are aching, the hips are starting to hurt a little bit. So it was, we didn't find hiking an activity until later in life. So suddenly we were like, right, we've got this list to do before we physically can't. So it was just one of those moments.
It was perfect. I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm like, follow.
Yes,
I want to know what they're
absolutely.
doing. Your husband, Jordan, and you, and these wonderful videos. And of course you have two sons as well, who we see kind of in and out of the videos, which are fantastic. So we are looking forward to hearing about your journey.
Excellent. Okay.
We are. So that's how Before We Can't came. But you said you found hiking and adventure a little bit later. So take us through a little bit of your background and how you did come to find adventure. And then we'll start talking about all the real adventures that you have accomplished at this point.
Okay. Well, story as old as time, really. Me and my husband are teenage sweethearts. We've been together forever. We worked most of our 20s, as most do, too many hours working. So we didn't really do much other than work. And then all of a sudden it was my husband had this crazy idea to climb Kilimanjaro. I think we'd seen some celebrities doing it, or we'd heard about them doing it for charity. So he thought to himself, well, we could do that. So we kind of trained for it, but didn't really, just absolutely winged it, booked it, then absolutely fell in love with hiking from that point on. Then we started canoeing, because we do a lot of Canadian canoeing, so open canoes. We do a lot of that. That's actually my father's fault, because he's into sailing and canoeing, and it's his inspiration for that one. But then that started the whole adventure life. We started in Wales. We did Snowdon, Pennyfan, all the local hikes near us, and it got bigger and higher. And obviously, as no disrespect, but most women know once you've done one height, you've got to go a bit higher and then a bit higher. And then my husband ran a marathon. I have not. I probably will not run a marathon, but he's done a marathon. And then the next logical step was Nepal. We've done Switzerland, we've done the Alps, so it made sense to do Nepal. And we looked at Everest Base Camp, but it's not a peak, it's not a finish. It's you finish at the start of something. And knowing my husband, I would be trying to drag him back off the Kumbu icefall because he'd be like, this isn't high enough. And he'd be trying to go up. So we settled on Mira. So in a very whistle-stop tour, that's how we got from nothing to 100 miles an hour in probably about 7 years.
Unreal.
Unbelievable. Okay, I have a lot to ask.
It just
I have a
goes.
lot to ask
Well,
about this.
I got to start with one thing real
Yep.
quickly. Let's go back to the Kilimanjaro conversation. How is it like over coffee? Is
Yeah,
it over
just
a
like-
glass of wine? Hey, hon, I have a great idea. Let's hike Mount Kilimanjaro.
Because I saw
oh,
the
Pretty
celebrity do
much.
it.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was like, hey, let's do this thing. So we always like, okay.
And how do you sort of train for that? You said you sort of train for Kilimanjaro. What is the height of Kilimanjaro?
Oh gosh, now you're asking me a question that I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's
I did
19
some research.
It's 19
Yes,
is it 19,000?
19,341
So you
feet,
can't
yes.
so you can't just like do that. So how
No.
what is sort of training for
Okay,
19,000
so-
elevation?
Before bringing it back, before the Kilimanjaro conversation, we were both into CrossFit quite heavily at the time. When it was cool to be into CrossFit, I know it's not, it's a bit PC, it's a bit un-PC now, but we were into CrossFit big time. So we were getting fitter, we were running and we were doing Tough Mudders. I don't know if you have those in the UK, sorry, in the US, but we were doing Tough Mudders and things like that. So I think we just finished doing a run and he just kind of came out with it. He said, oh, fancy doing Kilimanjaro? So I just kind of went, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. And then what is the train like you book it with a guide and what does the
Yes.
training start to look like at that point?
We
Or not?
booked it with we booked it with a local guide. We didn't go with a UK based company because of the political and not all of the UK companies at that time would have paid the guides and the porters correctly. So we made sure we found a local guide company that would have paid and did pay everybody correctly. And then the training was just walking, just hiking, just trying to get up and down as many hills as we could.
What about the thin air, if you will, to get used to the elevation, or maybe you just don't get used? You can't get used to it. You can't
get
replicate
used to it.
right? Yeah.
You can be the fittest person in the world and it can still hit you. So we took Diamox with us, which is an
that?
altitude sickness medication.
Okay.
Okay.
And so if you do start to feel the effects, you can take something that will help ease
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But then how do you make sure you're not pushing through past a point that is comfortable for your body?
So the Diamox adjusts your blood to make your blood more alkaline. So it would absolutely prevent any altitude sickness.
Okay.
So there would then be no pushing past your limits because it just changes the way your blood carries the oxygen.
Wow. And was that something you did need to rely upon?
Yeah, altitude hit me like a train on Kilimanjaro. I had the puff face.
Yeah.
You know, it was the headaches was a bit mad. So I definitely will be using it every time I go above 4,000 meters.
Yes. I have questions about the guides too. I definitely want to talk about that. But before we get too far on your other adventures, one thing that when we chat with people who have really kind of made their dreams come true or they're made a realization and then made that goal come true, you know, even when you say it kind of happened like this and a little bit overnight, but also what did you rely upon, like what past experience? Because it's not an easy thing to just even make that commitment. So what did you leverage or what beliefs did you leave behind? What did you shed to be able to set your eye on this?
I think you have to be quite stubborn to do anything of this kind of magnitude, and you have to be okay with being stubborn and a bit pig-headed, which is another UK term, but it's you can't be particularly precious. You know, you have to get rid of the ideology of comfort, and you know it's going to be a nice little walk. It's type 2 fun at its finest. So both of us are just really stubborn. So once we've decided we're doing something, we're doing it.
You're doing it. You're just
We're doing
doing it.
How are you able to incorporate? So you have your two sons, and then of
Yes.
course you mentioned you just working. You're
Yeah.
going on in life. How are you able to incorporate adventure, this travel, taking time off, with trying to leverage your other careers and making a living?
Yeah. So we work all the hours God sends in between our holidays and our trips to fund these things and to allow us to have the time off. And with the children, because obviously Elijah is only 11, we are very fortunate. We have an amazing support network of we have both grandmothers, and we have my father on my side, and it's fantastic because it's not a problem. We happen to mention a trip, and the grandmas are arguing over whether the kids go to nanny or do they go to grandma. They all want them. So we're incredibly fortunate that we've got such a good support network.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Has either son gone? I don't know. Did they go to Kilimanjaro? And I don't
No.
think they went to Nepal, but
No. They're not quite old enough. I mean, they probably could do it if they were that way inclined. I think we're just a bit cringe at this moment in time for both of them. So
sure.
Kirsty, how much of this, call it a new life, kind of new lease on life for you and Jordan, is for you as a couple, as people that worked so hard that now it's time to do this, but also to show your boys a different way, or open their eyes to, like you said, be stubborn, be pig-headed a little bit, chase your dreams. Don't let people tell you no. How much of it is to show them another way as well?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Because it's so easy to be comfortable in life. It's so easy to be satisfied with your lot, as it were. But actually, it's better to think, right, what's on the other side of the fence? What's on the other side of the door? And you might not like it, and that's okay. But we really want to encourage the boys to at least look.
Yeah, I do have to ask though. So Kilimanjaro, I'll go back there just for a minute.
Yeah.
You get to the peak with your husband. What is immediately going through your mind?
Oh gosh, right.
Or what's not? Maybe it's just.
I mean,
You're like all lightheaded. You don't even know what's
Yeah.
happening.
yeah. I think it was just the relief, I think, for Kilimanjaro, because summit night was really tough for me particularly. I really struggled with the summit night for Kilimanjaro, and so I think it was the relief that I did it, because there was times that I didn't think I was going to make it, and I have to fight my own demons quite a lot in my head that you can do it, because my whole body's going, what are you doing? Stop, you idiot, sit down. So I think for me it was the relief. For Jordan, it was right, so now can we go and have a look at the crater, please? Can I just go over there?
And was his experience not as physically, it sounds like physically it was opening some things for you of like, like, am I okay? What is happening? Why am I doing this? Like, was he not deterred by any of that?
No, that he thrives on that. The harder it is, the more he enjoys it.
What is the role? So traveling couple, we found this out too. Like, we've traveled before we got married, before we had our daughter, and then now it's a different dynamic. And going away for a year and doing 9 countries, you kind of fall into your roles of what she does. She's so good at planning, and I'm good at carrying bags, things of that nature. What are the roles that you and Jordan do you play in this adventure that you guys are doing?
I mean, snap. I plan. He carries the heavy things.
Which worked out.
Literally.
Why would you change a thing?
Exactly. I would be. No, he is my biggest supporter, and he will make sure that I get to the top. I complete what we're doing. So he not only carries the heavy bags, he carries me most of the time in these adventures. So I'm the planner. I'm the comes up with some of the ideas, and I can, let's do this fangled thing, or let's run over here. And he's like, okay, let me do this, and we'll figure it out. So he's the facilitator. He makes it happen.
When she got to the top, and you mentioned you just relieved, you got to the top of Kilimanjaro, just hearing you talk about your husband, it's almost like, so where do you want to go next? But were you going, okay, good,
Let's celebrate
I
this one.
checked this one off
Yeah.
the box. We're good now, right? We don't need to do this again. When did you start having this conversation about, oh, maybe we should do another mountain?
Probably on the plane home.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing actually. Both of us suffer from trip blues.
Yeah.
So we get home, we're like, oh, but there's nothing in the calendar. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So it's the next adventure discussion comes quite quickly after we finish one.
Love that. What keeps it going. We always say
Yeah.
our list just gets longer. Like we've seen so many amazing places now.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, oh, great. We're like, wait, there's more. There's so much more. And then we see
Yeah.
things like what you're doing, and we're like, there's even more. Another layer. So I
Yeah.
love that adventurous spirit. Kilimanjaro. How long was that trek? What was?
Okay. So we did the Lemosho route, which was 9 days. So it's actually one of the longer treks because of acclimatization. So it was 9 days up, 3 days down,
Okay.
7 days up, 4 days down. It was 9 days.
9 days. Okay, great. Thank you for putting that in some reference. And I think we have this question kind of throughout your adventures, but you also mentioned going with local company,
Yes.
local guides. And one of the things that we really value and relish in also is getting that local experience, getting to know locals,
Yeah.
making sure our investment is going to the place that needs it most.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like? How do you bond with the people, especially the guides, that are giving you a piece of themselves and really allowing you to come into a place that you wouldn't normally be able to experience?
That was very easy on Kilimanjaro actually, because the guides and the porters particularly were so friendly and so happy that you were there. They just wanted you to have a great time. Nothing was too much trouble. It was almost, as a British person, we're very, oh no, we'll do it. You sit down, we'll do it. It's oh sorry. We are constantly apologizing for them doing their job, but but they are so good, and they make you feel so comfortable, and they insist that you join in. And every time we came back or we arrived at camp each evening, they'd kind of gather us all together. We'd all have a song, and please don't ask me to sing because I cannot, but they would kind of bring you into a dance and just make you feel really at home. And there was kind of a few kind of stand-up people. That we had a chap called The Bit, who was our waiter for all intents and purposes while we were on the trip. And because there was actually only 3 of us in our group, it was really lovely because we had an older lady with us who, incredible, by the way, but he would bring her a cup of tea in the morning and make sure she had, everything she needed. And he'd come knock on 10 in the morning and be like, good morning, it's tea time. And it was so sweet and it was so lovely. And they would all make you feel so at ease. It was easy. You almost felt like you were friends at the end of the trip. Mm-hmm. Rather than just somebody you're paying to take you up a mountain.
What was camping like on the trip? Your different base camps and the stages that you have to go through. What was it like staying in that tent? And was weather ever a factor when you were going up?
We were actually incredibly lucky on both summit trips that the weather was just brilliant. We had 1 day of rain when we were in Africa, and it wasn't that bad. The rest of the time, the weather was beautiful. The camping was fine. We've camped before. We've camped, since we were kids, so that wasn't a problem. We're quite used to camping, but the supplies that they gave us, so the mattresses were sort of really thick, and
Cool.
it was comfortable. I was genuinely surprised that it was actually comfortable. And I don't mean to sound very precious, but we had a porta potty. They carried
You were
a toilet.
glamping. It was called glamping.
Yeah, we were glamping in Africa. It was mad.
They carry
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was bonkers because in each camp they have toilets called long drops. So you can imagine
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we were offered a porta potty. So we kind of were okay.
Oh my. Oh wow.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Incredible. I mean, again, still you're pushing yourself in extreme conditions. So then it also brings this great, gratefulness, this gratitude for any nicety or something that people would have thought about would make this just even a little bit more comfortable. So I can hear that the glamour of it is not
Yeah.
the point, the really endurance, and that I'm doing this, and any nice
Yeah.
little thing like a cup of tea at
Yes.
a party
Yeah.
make your day.
I heard a quote, I think it was on Instagram once, and it was traveling lowers your standard of living and how okay you're being, how okay you become at living at such a lower standard. Then when you kind of get home, you're like, whoa.
Yes.
It's-
I like that quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we understand.
Yeah.
This moment in time, especially. Yes.
Did I see a bottle of champagne being cracked
Oh, yeah.
at the top? It was at Kilimanjaro?
It wasn't champagne, but yes, it was
Oh,
fizzy apple.
It did the
It
job.
did the job.
It
Yes.
did the job, and it was
spectacular.
delicious. So yeah,
Whatever it was.
it did the job.
It did the job.
Okay, so then 2 years later, which was this past October,
Yes.
Mera Peak, right?
Yes.
Now I saw your wonderful training regiment on Instagram. Like I think almost started like 8 weeks out. Here we go. And it was awesome. So this was a completely different mindset than Kilimanjaro, right? You really
Yes.
tackled this whole experience.
Yeah. So what was
Yes.
this one? What was the training for this one like?
The training for this one was a lot of running because in after the experience of Kilimanjaro, and I was running over 10Ks before Kili. That was my training, the occasional 10K. But this time I was like, right, I need to be hitting 10K a couple of times a week. I was pushing to 13, 14K. That was my training effectively. I was meant to be doing weightlifting as well, but I didn't. So I'm going to be honest, I probably should have done, but I didn't. I focused on running a lot, but it was a lot more structured towards the end. So because this is different, so different to Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is almost luxury in
Wow.
terms of the
That's
support
quite different,
and the mindset was. It was easier, which is a weird thing to say because they're both mountains, but looking back at both of them, Kili was a stroll compared to Mira.
Tell us more. Why? Why is it?
Well, really, I think because of the basic type of mountain. So with Kilimanjaro, it's a standalone mountain. It's the highest standalone mountain in Africa. I think it's you go up, you come down. With the Mira, because it's in a range, you kind of go up and down the valleys as you go round. So you're going up and then you're coming down, and it's constant, and you were walking for 8 hours a day. And you kind of think, oh, it's Nepal, it's cold, it's icy. It wasn't. For the first 5 days, it was boiling because we're in the rainforest.
Okay.
And I'm a woman of a certain age. I don't regulate my body temperature very well. So, of course, my internal temperature was skyrocketing. It was hot. I was with, there was a group of 7 of us. The group was amazing. So great. But we had the speedy boys at the front. And then there was little old me kind of trundling along behind, which was fine. It was great. But it was mentally a lot tougher, even though I was physically fitter than I was for Kili. It was, so much harder.
Really? And did that surprise you since you had already done one and you had trained differently for this? Were you like, I've got this, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's more challenging. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was humbling quite quickly. It really did humble you because there isn't much on Mera Peak. We tried, because with Kilimanjaro, we completely engorged ourselves with the content from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook. We just watched people doing it like months in advance. We're watching all this content. There isn't much content for Mira, and the only content that you do get is the lovely shots of like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, a bit like ours. Look at this, isn't it gorgeous? But you don't then get this is really hard. Like, guys, are you sure you want to do this? This is hard. You don't get that kind of content. So I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was. No.
But you've done it now.
Oh,
I know.
And now you can just be like glowing. And I can appreciate
Yes.
that you can still have the conversation that it was hard.
Yeah.
Like you don't try to like gloss over like it was mentally challenging. You were gonna ask something. I have another comment.
Oh no, I was going to ask when it comes to training, and I know you mentioned you were doing, the running, but whenever we do like a very remedial 5K, 10K, you can literally type in we're going to run a 10K. This is what you should be doing every single week. Is there any type of training regimen with all the YouTube research you've done says, I'm going to go to this peak? You said Mira doesn't have a lot of really, things out there, but is there any type of schedule that the internet can spit out to you that says, this is what I need to do? Or are you just kind of making this up as you go?
I absolutely make it up as I go along. Bearing in mind, I printed out about 5 training programs, downloaded the Runner app, downloaded MyFitnessPal, did the whole shebang, and then I put it to one side. Life happens, and I didn't follow any of them. I get up at 5. Sometimes I go for a run. Other days I don't get up at 5. I run 3 days later, or I do a gym session. I think you can try too hard to fit into programs, and my brain doesn't work that way. If you tell me I have to do something at 6 a.m. every day, I'm not doing it. So you just have to go with, I think, how your body feels, and knowing that you're going to be walking for 8 hours a day. If you can run a 10K, you can walk 8 hours.
The French Nativity YouTube channel will have you screaming. Kent, Michelle, and Everly make up the French Nativity family who packed up their lives to travel the world in an effort to live life to the fullest. Greece, Thailand, Croatia, Indonesia, and New Zealand are just a few of the countries they experienced along the way. Now they want you to join the journey. Subscribe to the French Nativity YouTube channel to see the world with Kent, Michelle, and Everly, one adventure at a time.
One question. When are we going to post this?
That's a good, like, if you can do this, then you can do that.
Yeah.
I also feel like if you're asked to do anything, you sort of have the personality that you're going to get it done. I'm curious though I feel like one thing you're saying also is that, like, giving permission to not have to do it perfectly or train in a certain way.
Yeah.
Of course, it's lovely that those resources are out there, but one of the things we find is, like, people saying about our journey, like, oh, that's how incredible. I can't even imagine. I want to do that. What a dream. But I don't know. And we're like, but you can. You just have to take the first step, and your journey doesn't have to look like our journey. So someone training for this experience doesn't have to look like yours or anybody else's. It's just a mindset of, like, I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to figure out how to do it.
Exactly. In fact, one of our group, his name was Mark. He's a Ironman, multi-Ironman. And he turned to me once and said, well, it's a choice, isn't it? You make the choice to do it. It's simple. You've made the choice. And that was brilliant. But I thought, okay, you can't really argue with that, can you? Because if you've chosen to do something,
you're like, easy for you to say, Iron Man.
I know, right?
Yes, I did choose.
But simplifying it, though. Simplifying it. I think a lot of us, me, speaking for me personally, in the past, there's self-induced roadblocks is what I like to call them. We can make excuses for anything and put anything in our way. Oh, I don't have time, or I need to do this first, or whatever it may be. But if you simplify it and say, I'm going to do it, I've made a decision, then do it.
Yes.
And that sounds so simple, but it really is not. At times. But if you just make that decision, making that decision sometimes is the hardest part.
Yes.
What did you rely on in those hard moments now that you're doing Mira and it's harder, if I'm hearing you correctly, harder than you had anticipated?
Yeah.
It sounds like Jordan probably played into this too, but, like, what's the mental conversation? How did you get through it?
Okay. So I don't mean to sound sappy. Apologize in advance for this. And I can't even remember the singer's name, which is really awful. But me and my husband are massive country singer fans. Love country. Ashley McBride, remember her name. Ashley McBride sang a song called, is it called this? Or The Girl from Nowhere? And I don't know if you know it, but one of the days, it was a really tough day, and that song just kept playing on in my head. And that's what got me through that day, actually, just it's fine, we can do this. And I had a little cry to myself, had a little chat with myself. And I think that I'm not an over sentimental person, but that one song really resonated, and it just kept playing over and over in my head. So I have her to thank for that day.
I was going to say, did she know? message her and Jordan for the rest. Jordan gets the rest. Just
Jordan
message
gets the
her.
rest.
Just be like, just so you know, this is inspiring. That's beautiful. I mean, I think you have to dig into whatever you can in those moments.
Yeah.
I have another question, a little more practical question then about this temperature regulation situation.
Yeah.
I saw what you were just reflecting on, that in the beginning, it's the jungle or the rainforest, pardon me, and it's hot.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're in feet of snow. I don't know how many feet. So how does your body, because I can imagine the conversation at one point is like, I'm so hot. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Done. Then the next, are you freezing and you're done? Like, I don't understand how you adapt to this.
It's a little bit layers.
Layers,
You have to layer. There's layers. We have a rule, or I have a rule, that you always, when you go hiking, start cold.
Yeah.
Always
Okay.
start cold, because you start warm, you're going to overheat immediately. If you start cold, then you can always add more layers. But I actually found you've always saw the videos, I wore that white Patagonia, like long sleeve all the time. It was disgusting at the end, but I wore it all the time. And I had nothing else underneath it.
Yeah.
It was just a thin, long sleeves. And I don't know if it was the material or don't know what it was, but it just saw me through that, and like a body warmer. That's all I needed, even on the coldest days.
Wow.
You start with a great big kind of like us with your summit coat on. But actually, I found myself walking in just my body warmer and a long sleeve, thin, very, very thin top. It's, I suppose, because when you got to think, if you're walking,
Yeah.
you do kind of generate a lot of heat. Yeah.
And how about the crew for this one, the guides, and were there porters for Mira as well?
Yes, there were porters. So, but this was slightly different than Kili, because we were in tea huts. So we didn't camp until we got to high camp. So the porters, we had obviously we were carrying our personal bags, and then the porters were carrying our duffels. So it was slightly different. And the accommodation varied. You kind of walked in at one point, there was a tarpaulin there was a sheet of material between us and the toilet, which is effectively a hole in the floor. Oh. So that was fun. First night. But so we had less porters, because with Kilimanjaro there was like 15 of them, I think, for 3 people. It was crazy the amount of people that was in kind of our gang. But with Mira we had 4 porters and 2 guides, and like the head porter would organize the porters, and he'd run ahead and make sure we had a room at the tea hut, because you can't book in advance. Obviously, you just kind of got to hope that there's room for you. So it was a different situation.
What if
so
there's
that was a
no
bit
for you?
Well, that happened quite often,
back
actually,
down?
because we were following quite a large group. So they would kind of flood the tea huts and take up all the beds. So we never went without a bed, but we kind of walked in and was like, is this the veg store? Like, are we meant to be in here?
Oh, wow.
But it was fine.
It's not like you just like, well, let's try to pass them.
Yeah, let's just get ahead of them.
We did on summit night. It's fine.
Oh, I do have to ask. So Kilimanjaro, I think you mentioned it was 9 days. What was Mera Peak?
3 weeks.
Oh, geez.
3
So
weeks.
it's a lot. Yes, a lot longer. I mean, we actually summited 2 days early because of the weather,
Wow.
but it was significantly longer.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
not even what I thought.
a lot of tea. That's not what I
don't know
thought. It's a lot of tea.
Why would I think
don't know.
anything? Yeah.
It was so mad, actually, because we kind of, when you're sort of like day 8 and 9, you're suddenly thinking, we've still got a week to go until we're summiting. It was a bit mad.
Yeah.
Mental.
Mental. That's why I was like mental.
How do you keep it together knowing you got that much longer to go?
We just had so much fun. It was great. I mean, our group was great. We didn't fall out. The group dynamic was great. Nobody really irritated. Well, I don't know. I might have irritated them, but no one told me. So, it was, we all got on really well. A chap called Nick brought us some cards with him, which was brilliant. We played that most nights. It was just a nice group. So we enjoyed every day. So it wasn't boring. Like, we weren't like, oh God, here we go, another day. It was just like,
nice.
Yeah, it was great.
This is like a very naive question, especially since you said you've stayed in these tea houses and stuff, but like that sitting around in the evening, like, are you around a campfire? Like, is there a fire pit, or is this how do you gather?
So we're inside most evenings, and they have a fire in the middle of a tea hut. So it's one of those. It's like a log burner in the middle of the room. So you're kind of around the edges, and it's really nice actually. They really heat up.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, so I have a question about Summit. I have lots of questions, but
Go for it.
can we talk about the stars?
I was going to
Oh my
I was going
gosh!
to ask it for you. Yes.
Weren't they
So-
stunning?
I have to preface this by saying we were fortunate to go to a dark sky reserve in New Zealand. And we've
Nice.
never been apart. I've never heard of light pollution before. I never knew what it
Okay.
was.
Because we're just in it all the time,
But
so we
we're
don't know
in
that.
it, we're living in
we
it.
didn't know.
I cannot imagine what you saw.
Tell us what you saw.
It was so beautiful. It was incredible. There are no words for it. We think we saw the Northern Lights. We think, because there was some photos that we took that we're just like, that has to be the Northern Lights. Has to be, because there's no other thing. There's no other thing that it could be. It was absolutely stunning.
Did they feel close? Like, did you feel like you were in the stars? Like, are they closer when you're at this elevation and it's so clear?
It's more kind of awe-inspiring. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. Just let them wash over you. It's incredible. And of course,
And
the sunsets were
Oh.
spectacular.
Oh, I can imagine. Some of your pictures, some of the video
Yeah.
that shows the sunset is
Yeah.
so epic. And every night you could see stars. I mean, it's clear.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Most evenings weren't cleared because, of course, with the mountains, the clouds do descend.
Yeah.
But during the night, yes, we'd kind of wake up and we'd be, looking at the stars.
So you are as we are aspiring to be, a content creator. I'm not sure how to phrase that these days, right? Like, what are we doing?
I
Like,
think
how do we do this?
I
And
think it has a more elevated term when
There
we're doing
is.
things like what.
you're
they're
an
doing.
inspiring creator. Let's put it something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But as we went through your journey on Instagram from Kilimanjaro and then to Mera Peak, things changed with your camera work, with you talking to the camera. I don't know how you did it if you're walking 8 hours a day to have the energy to hold a camera up and have a conversation. How much in the back of your mind was it that you really wanted to document this, not only for all of us at home watching along or following you, but to your family for later to have something to look back on?
That's literally it. Me and Jordan decided to film it as a memory bank. That's what our Instagram is. It's so that when we're old and we're in the nursing home, we can be like, see, we did do this. Honest, we did. And it's for us. We often, you never have photos anymore. You don't have photo albums like we used to. You remember as a kid, you used to flick through and be like, what's this? What's this? You don't do that anymore. So this is our version of that. So when we're older or we're feeling a little bit, we want to have a look at our photos, we have it all documented. And then, of course, for some crazy reason, the algorithm picked me up and shot me to kind of our very small but amazing following that we have now, which is incredible, and I feel so lucky. And then I do have an editor. I do. She helps me edit my videos. I'm not gonna lie, I don't produce them all. I wouldn't have time. And the camera we use now, we use the 360 camera. So that's why some of the shots are just so beautifully
It's incredible. We thought it might be a drone in some of those. We weren't sure what it was.
it's literally, it's a camera on a stick. It's incredible.
That's
Because then
incredible.
and it's usually over my shoulder. So I'm holding it and it's kind of over my shoulder that way. Or Jordan's got it in, he's just kind of holding it on a 3-meter pole. So it literally looks like a drone, but it's not. It's a 360.
Spins 360.
It
but
doesn't
it's
spin.
hard.
It's two cameras either side of itself. So when we edit, then you can manipulate where the shot goes.
Oh my goodness.
So it's filming everything all of the time,
All
which
the
makes
time.
some interesting B-roll.
I bet it
Yeah,
does. I bet it does.
Your community, most of your own community on Instagram has grown. What kind of
Yeah.
support have you gotten kind of through your training and through everything? Was it fun to see people kind of chiming in and giving you guys support along the way? And then the reaction to what you brought back from Mera Peak?
Yeah. It really is incredible. And it's what's humbling is people are now asking me, hey, what did you wear? We're doing Mira next year. Can you help? And I was like thinking, are you sure you want to ask me? Like, because I'm, both me and my husband, we joke around a lot. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We are big kind of like, well, if we can do it, anyone can do it. It's fine, whatever. So it's one of those, but it's so humbling actually just to have so much support and so many lovely comments, and we've had nothing negative, which I'm not inviting,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's so lovely to just have so much support and people really rooting for you to reach the summit.
Yeah. And having that perspective on what documentation and social can do. We certainly have that position that, well, if we could put good news out there, positive things that are happening, things you're achieving, then this medium really can be beautiful. It really can be inspiring. And can we all just lean into that, which you have certainly done.
Yes.
Now, did you have any connectivity while you're summiting? Like I'm assuming you don't have connectivity.
So you can purchase Wi-Fi while you're in the tea house, which is hilarious. And they come in forms of Wi-Fi cards. So it's about, I think it's about $8 for this Wi-Fi card. And it gives you, I think, about 15 hours worth of Wi-Fi. It's Starlink.
Oh,
so Starlink. So it's spotty, but there were a few days that you literally were completely off grid.
Sure.
Totally off grid. But for the most of it, you get Wi-Fi in the evening.
Wow.
So
which is quite fun.
Do you call home
it was great to speak to the boys actually. We had a few nights that we could FaceTime with the boys, which was lovely.
Oh yeah, that's really lovely. I mean, you built your own community as you're on this journey, but then I can only imagine the pull, especially with your children, that you want to be able to share part of it real time with them as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, cool.
How was the summiting experience of Mera Peak different from Kilimanjaro?
Okay, it was physically tougher, but I did better mentally. The interesting thing with Mira, so with Kili, you can see all the lights on the way up, and you can see the top. So it feels like it's going on forever because you can see the top. With the Mira, you can't see the top. So, and I think there's about four summits before you get to the top. It is a bit like, oh, but there's the top. Okay, it's fine. Trundle up. Oh, it's not the right. It's the next one. Okay, fine. But to be fair, the same with Kili. The minute the sun comes up, the minute that little bit of orange breaks above the snow, everything changes. And suddenly it's completely then obtainable. No matter how struggled, 20 minutes ago that I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? As soon as that sun comes up, everything changes.
Is it sunrise that you summit both? Is it at sunrise?
Yes. Yeah. So we left at 1 a.m. from high camp to begin our summit, and we summited about 7 a.m.
Wow.
So, and it's quite funny actually. My children will kill me for telling you this, but because we're all roped together, and and they split our group of 7 into 3 groups. So it was me, my husband Jordan, and our guide Gilu, who was great, and we all roped together. At one point, Jordan had my rope over his shoulder, and he was literally like hauling me up the mountain because I was being a bit of a toddler and kind of going, no, I need to stop every 5 minutes. And because we're, you think of that you're on a train of people because everyone's trying to summit early because the weather was coming in. So we had so many people trying to get up that night that we were overtaking kind of big groups. And I didn't want to overtake those groups. I was quite happy to stay where I was. So every time they moved us around, I was like, no, and getting quite stroppy, and Jordan was like, come on. So it was, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Well, yes, he really was the one that could help you keep going then.
Literally, he really was. It was good. But then, you then accept that you're in the groove and you stop, you take a breath, then it's fine, and then off you go again. And it's mentally that was a lot easier than Kilimanjaro.
Wow. And then how long do you enjoy the summit when you summit and you're up there, you're celebrating?
So I don't know how long you're supposed to be there, but we were there for about an hour.
An hour. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, groups would come and go while we were still sort of stood there, but we were told to leave.
You
We were
earned
like,
it.
no,
You
you
earned
need
it.
to get down now. And
Go.
we just did not want to leave.
Is it an unspoken word when you get up there? Is it just silence and everyone's kind of taking it in, or is there celebration? Like when you accomplish something that you did, what is the reaction like when you get to the top?
There's a lot of celebration, a lot of kisses, a lot of hugs, a lot of kind of, oh my God. And then just some people then just stop and you can just see them they go, oh wow, we did it, we're here. And you then just look over this vista of mountains and you can see people kind of hits them in the face. They're like, oh, because I don't think it really hits you that you're doing it until you've done it. So you get the kind of like, yay, we did it. Everyone's kind of hugging and kissing and then all of a sudden everyone just kind of goes, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's came to mind is the unspoken word. I can't imagine you everything you've gone through, the training, the 3 weeks, whatever. I mean, talking to your kids and just trying to get the inspiration. And you mentioned the music, the songs and whatever it is to get there. I can't imagine what would be the reaction then. There's so many different emotions that would be running through anybody. It makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to describe. Actually, I'm not trying to fob you off, but it's such a difficult feeling to describe because you don't feel it very often.
Oh, yeah.
It's that you're really proud of yourself, but also you're absolutely exhausted at the same time. So you are drained, but you're excited. You're kind of completely in awe of the people that you're with. I was just like, oh my God, Jordan, we've done this. You're amazing. Like, how did we do this? And you're proud of yourself. And at the same time, you're tired and you really want to go down because you're exhausted, but the view is beautiful and everything's amazing. And it's a massive overload of emotion.
We saw your wonderful video about planning 2025. Can you give a little insight into what 2026 might look like for the family?
Okay, so it's a bit more kid-centric. 2026. We're coming to Florida in the spring, early spring. So we're doing the whole Universal Park situation, which is going to be super fun. Lots more canoeing. Me and Jordan are looking to through hike the Cotswold Way, which is, so you got like is it the PCT? We have a much smaller version called the Cotswold Way. So we're looking to do that. We might go to Italy. We haven't really set 2026 in stone yet, but unfortunately there's no big trips like Mera in 2026, but there's going to be a lot of really cool smaller trips. Yeah.
Well, before we say goodbye, and we're certainly going to stay in touch. I mean, this has been absolutely lovely, but I mentioned to you when we were kind of DMing back and forth, and Michelle said it very well at the beginning, we are here we do this podcast to meet other inspirational people that have done stuff, similar paths to what we're doing, taking risk to lead a more fulfilling life. So what advice of everything that you've gone through and learned about yourselves and about your family over the last, several years, what advice would you give to people that are listening to this or follow you on Instagram? I wish I could do that. That would be awesome. What advice would you give to them to be able to do something to fulfill their lives?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't want to be a cliche, but just do it.
Yeah.
Take that trip, book the flight, go for a run, hike up that hill, just do it. Because even if you just go for a walk in the park, just do it. Just go for it because you don't know what it will then lead to.
Beautiful.
That's it. Just
do it before we can't.
Do
right?
it. Yeah, exactly. Do it before we
Let's bring it all back around.
Before you get too old.
Oh, Kirsty, thank you for doing this. All
Thank
of our
you for
best to
having
you
me.
and Jordan and your
I have
family.
a feeling you'll be doing this way into many older years.
Yeah,
I have a feeling you have a long time to still enjoy this adventure.
They're gonna have to physically tie us down, I think.
Well, you're all about Frenchitivity, which is positivity, tranquility, or possibility, tranquility, and possibility. So we really appreciate you, trusting us to come on and share your story. And I guarantee you there are others that will be inspired by what you and your husband and your family are doing. So again, Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been really lovely.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle from the French Nativity family. Our family has traveled the world over this last year, and the comment that we get most often is, how did you pack? Which I'll be happy to share. But the other question that we've been getting a lot lately is, how did you do it? How did you get your family ready to travel? What was that experience like? How did you make it a reality? So I've been thinking that we'd like to share some of those tips with you, and I'd really like to see if we could get some founding members together. We'll be forming it together live. Just send me a DM if it sounds interesting to you, because I've got some ideas.
The French Nativity YouTube channel will have you screaming. Kent, Michelle, and Everly make up the French Nativity family who packed up their lives to travel the world in an effort to live life to the fullest. Greece, Thailand, Croatia, Indonesia, and New Zealand are just a few of the countries they experienced along the way. Now they want you to join the journey. Subscribe to the French Nativity YouTube channel to see the world with Kent, Michelle, and Everly, one adventure at a time.
One question. When are we going to post this?
Hi, you reached Kent, Michelle, and Everly French. We're unavailable right now, but please leave your name and number at the tone, and we'll get back to you real soon from somewhere around the world.
Kent, Michelle, and Everly spreading French Nativity all over the world. This entire family creating possibilities all over the world. French Nativity, French Nativity, all over the world. French Nativity, possibilities all over the world. Come on, take a ride, take a look inside this world of mystery. It's French Nativity, French Nativity, French Nativity, all over the world. French Nativity, possibilities all over the world.